Hello and welcome to the United Stand. Manchester United lose 1-0 to Bayern Munich. Apologies about the bad lighting, that's on me, but the result from Manchester United is not on me. Absolutely shambolic. I look on Twitter and I see people saying things like it's only pre-season, and the reality is I don't care if it's pre-season, in the season, you know, end of season. The football is still absolutely shambolic at Manchester United. Absolutely shambolic. I don't know whether we put a forward pass in. I don't know whether we actually had any shots in that game. It was atrocious, and I think people are sleeping on this league. They're going, it's only, well, people having a meltdown because of the pre-season. People having a meltdown because of the pre-season friendly. They're not having a meltdown because of the pre-season friendly. They're having a meltdown because the football is absolutely shit. It's rubbish, and it comes from Jose Mourinho. It comes from him totally. It was absolutely shocking tonight. Yet again, Luke Shaw, we should have signed Alexandro. McTominay coming on as a midfielder, I don't even know what McTominay's meant to be anymore. I don't even think he's a footballer. I mean, I was really positive about Marcus Rashford's getting the number 10 shirt. I think that's the biggest positive of the night, because a local lad getting the number 10 shirt is absolutely fantastic. But let's be totally honest about this. The football was 4-3-3, pragmatic, defensive shit as per usual. And yes, it's a pre-season game. I totally understand that. Yeah, I've had a few beers watching the game on holiday, but to be honest with you, Jose Mourinho said before the game, if we don't bring players in, we're in for a lot of trouble next season. But actually, he's right to a certain extent. The club have let Jose Mourinho down. But on the other hand, also, it doesn't matter who the signings are. Why are we trying to sign Alderweireld or Maguire or Yerry Mina, who looks like he's going to Everton, so that's a positive? Why are we trying to sign those sort of players when our whole team are defenders? Why do we need another defender when our whole team are defenders? We went into that game against Bayern Munich tonight with the one sort of ethos was to not lose that game. We're Manchester United, and the one ethos in that game was to not lose it. I mean, what's that all about in a pre-season game? If you can't, what would it matter if we'd lost 4-0 to Bayern Munich tonight? And Bayern Munich, that's their first pre-season game as well. But what would it have mattered against Bayern Munich tonight if we'd lost that game 4-0? But we'd had a go. The reality is, one of the big things that I stood by Jose Mourinho, and I stick by Jose Mourinho, is, and I've got to wait till the Leicester game and the Spurs game and the Brighton game and the Burnley game, but one of the big reasons I stuck by Jose is because I thought he would change. But he's not going to change, and I can't be defensive of Mourinho, defensive being the ironic word. I can't be defensive of him because what do people think? On pre-season games, it doesn't matter. We're playing exactly the same football that we played all of last season, and it's just not good enough. Luke Skywalker says, if it's a friendly game, we fans deserve so much better. I don't mind losing. I just want to see some passion and desire going forward, and I honestly feel we are wasting time with Mourinho. You know what? People paid to go to that game. Flex has gone out there. We've got fan cams coming up. I can't wait to see what the fan cams are going to say for the people who've actually gone out and spent their money tonight, because it's shocking that Jose Mourinho's got no idea about the history or identity of this football club. I mean, you've got McTominay coming on up front. He was a centre-back in the US tour. You've got, I thought Pereira did quite well. Eric Bailly did quite well, but yet again he gets himself injured. Luke Shaw has not grasped the nettle at all. He's been bang average. I don't get what Luke Shaw's meant to be at Manchester United. I've always been a big fan of his, but he's just not grabbed the opportunity. Yes, he stayed fit, but he's not grasped the opportunity at all. So that's disappointing as well. What else? Yeah, I mean, we should have signed Alexandro, who was free to do that, so that's disappointing. But I totally and utterly, I'm not going to go furious and everything like that, but I totally and utterly think that these United fans, these top Reds who are out in force again, saying, oh, it's just a pre-season game, it doesn't really matter. Who are you? What are you on about? And do you not understand that pre-season or not, Community Shield or not, you've still got an ethos, still got a way of playing football. You don't purposely send your team out to play in a totally different way. And we're not playing in a different way anyway. I mean, I quite like the 3-5-2. We play Bayern Munich tonight and we go 4-3-3. What did we play last season? 4-3-3. What did I predict on the video this morning? I bet we'll go back to 4-3-3, pragmatic, men behind the ball, not pressing, not moving the ball forward. I mean, it was almost, I saw somebody tweet out at me when we play a forward pass, and it was a little bit like that. It was really, really poor from United tonight. But it's not poor in a shocking way. If that was just like, oh, it's pre-season, and yeah, we've still got some good players to come back, and we've got Pogba to come back, we've got Lukaku to come back. Who else have we got to come back? I wanted to say that as well. Who else have we got to come back? Pogba and Lukaku. Jesse Lingard's a decent player, but I think people are way over egging the pudding with him, and I always have done. I think he's a really good squad player. I don't think he's going to make us Premier League winners. I mean, Dele Alli and Lingard were shocking in the World Cup semi-final and the quarter-final, but people seem to think Jesse Lingard's going to make us a great team. You've got... So we've got Lukaku and Pogba to come back, who are good. I'm trying to think who else is going to come back. I mean, Fellaini. I mean, obviously missed Fellaini tonight. I mean, that joker shouldn't even be at the club. But yeah, we're probably going to sign a centre-back. But we're so bloody defensive. The thing is, Toby Alderweireld is a really good centre-back, right? But we're such a defensive team, we don't need a centre-back. We need somebody who's attacking. Basically, we're Manchester United, and also what I must always say as well about Jose, because I know a lot of people don't rate Mourinho, and I do back him. But the big thing about Mourinho is that he has got good players. Don't tell me that Pereira, Mata, Fred, Herrera can't play good football, can't play a forward pass, can't play attacking football, couldn't go into a Man City team and be really good players. The reality is, we are a Ferrari with the handbrake on. We basically are. And who's holding the handbrake? It's Jose Mourinho. So he can moan about signings, he can moan about injuries or whatever he wants to moan about, but what he cannot refute and what he cannot avoid is that he sets the tactics of the Manchester United team. He is the one who does that. He is the one who does set the tactics. So I'm massively disappointed tonight, really. Massively disappointed, mainly because the style of football was atrocious, and that's what matters more than anything. Top Geezer says, if that's what's to come for the season, we will be lucky to finish mid-table. As for the Champions League, we will be out in the group phase. I would rather watch a Spaniard sell fruit to Mark. Well, that is quite entertaining, I've got to say. And we've had another contribution here from Omar, who says, Mark, enough is enough. Jose has to take responsibility for his actions. That was shocking. What's even more upsetting is that we'll have to watch this for another season. Depressing. You see, the big thing is I can't wait to see the fan cams tonight, because there's Manchester United fans who have spent money to go and watch Manchester United play in Munich tonight in a pre-season game. We're playing Leicester on Friday, and I do agree that Jose Mourinho would probably look at that game and say, I just want to get through it. Obviously we've got Leicester, but you cannot ignore the fact that we played the same formation that we played last season. You cannot ignore the fact that we played the same tactics as last season, and that has to be the biggest and only problem. And who would you give man of the match in that game? I must just ask, because it was part of the bus, boring Manchester United, and there's no excuse for that. There's no excuse for that. There's no excuse for that just because you want transfers. There's no excuse for playing that style of football. I mean, I've just ran onto the beach to do this straight afterwards, and you know, I'm not unsteady on my feet through the sand, but there's no excuse for that brand of football. There's no excuse for that style of football. There's no excuse for that in a pre-season game, when the reality is he could have played any way he wanted to play, and he chose to go a totally different way. So really happy with it, to see the positives. I mean, Jacob says overreacting much. Jacob, this is not a one-off, mate. And look, I still retain positivity that things can change. I'm not Mourinho out, I never have been. And a week is a long time in football, and I do think we'll beat Leicester, and I do think people like Pogba and Lukaku, when it matters, will make a big difference to United. And Matic as well, but obviously he probably won't be back for Friday. But Fosu Mensah came on for a few minutes. We're loaning him out, and we'll probably keep Darmian. And Darmian is atrocious. Luke Shaw has had a whole pre-season to play really well and shove Ashley Young out the team. Ashley Young's been on holiday with his sandals on, thinking, I'm walking straight back into this team, which he is. He shouldn't be our left back, but he walks back straight into it. Pereira has been fantastic. I thought tonight he wasn't at his best, but we were up against a half-decent team tonight, and he absolutely got swamped. But Perisic would be definitely needed, yeah. I mean, give us your man of the matches. That's what I'm looking for. Brian Pollock says, you say sack him if we don't win this season, but you also say we won't win. So what's the point? Let a new manager start their process a year early. Well, I sort of do agree with that, but I just know that Manchester United will not sack him. They just won't do it. How can some people defend Jose? Look, it's all about opinion. I can't knock people for backing Jose Mourinho. If you back him, you back him. But what I do disagree with on a personal level is these top Reds are becoming quite irritating now with it's just a pre-season game. People having a meltdown because of pre-season. I mean, I just think you've got some weird perception that you're trying to sell people that you're top Reds because you win, lose or draw, I support Manchester United. Well, that's the most idiotic statement I've ever heard. don't support the team when they're winning if you can't when they lose. I mean, it's the most idiotic statement out there. Who doesn't? I've seen United lose. You've all seen United lose. Who stops supporting Manchester United when they've lost or drawn? We've all had a moan. We've all not been very happy. But we don't go and support Liverpool or Man City. We still support Manchester United. So those top Reds, I think they've got their heads buried in this sand, which is directly below me. They've got that. Their head is buried in that sand because it's ridiculous. We all support Manchester United, but it doesn't mean we all have to sit back and say it's great when they lose. So no, not happy with it tonight at all. Man of the match, you're having a laugh, the breath for blowing it up. That's from Dish Ori 711. I totally agree with you, mate. Very hard to pick a man of the match tonight because it was such a poor performance. But like I say, I think it comes from Jose. There was just no intention of trying to win that game. It was all about defence. I think I should get man of the match for actually coming out onto the beach and giving you a match reaction on my holiday, but I had to vent it somewhere, and you're always the best people for me to come out and interact with. So please do drop a like on the video for Mark Goldbridge, the man of the match, who watched that game on his holiday. I should get a bloody medal for that. I should. I could have been playing bingo at the hotel. You know, there's all sorts of things I could have done. The positive is that Yerry Mina looks like he's going to Everton. I think that is a positive because he would be a rubbish signing. He is an Everton player, so good signing for Everton, but not what Manchester United need. But I'll go back to what I said at the start. Jose Mourinho, before the press conference, before the game tonight, saying we're going to have a difficult season if we don't bring new players in. Well, I'm sort of getting a bit past that now. I do agree with him that the board haven't done that well, but also he's got good players and he's not getting the best out of them, and that is an irritant. Julian Ness says, if I'm on board and I'm looking at Jose and his progress, I wouldn't give him $1 to make a signing. They have to know he's gone soon. Julian, if that was anywhere near true, sack him. If that's anywhere true, just sack him. Anyway, I'm going to get back to my beer. Thanks everyone for watching. Please do drop a like on the video. It'd be great to smash 500 likes while we're live. Thanks, Mark. Love the United stand, says Brian Pollock. I love you too, Brian. I love all of you. You're fantastic. And the reality is, the season starts on Friday, and we will go into it. You know, we're not going anywhere. The United stand's not going anywhere. You're not going anywhere. We'll be in it together. Am I concerned? I'm irritated. I'm irritated that we've gone back to 4-3-3. I'm irritated that we don't press the ball. I'm irritated that we don't look to pass the ball. I'm irritated by the style of football, and I'm irritated by Mourinho tonight. But I do agree with him that we do need to get some signings in. But I would go back to what I said at the start. Why are we signing Alderweireld when we're just a defensive team anyway? Why do you need top-class centre-backs if you're not going to play risk football? Alderweireld is in your team because when you're on the attack, a top-class defender is important because when you're on the attack and you're stretched, your top-class defender will save you. You don't need a top-class defender if your whole team's defending. They're irrelevant. They become irrelevant. Having a top-class centre-back becomes irrelevant if you are putting 11 men behind the ball. You have a top-class centre-back like Ferdinand and Vidic because when everyone else is forward and you've only got two back, they can defend on their own. That's why you have a top-class centre-back. Simple as. Top Geezer says, what's going on with Bay? Every time he goes down, he gets subbed. He looks uninterested and wants to come off. By the way, I think Pereira was our best player again. Best of a bad bunch. I'd agree with you that. I thought Pereira had a bit of a bad game, but it was probably one of the better players. Eric Bay's a bit like Phil Jones. I mean, probably can't be relied on. Lindelof looked rusty and he got a lot of stick, but do people realise that's his first pre-season game? He's only been training a week. You've got to cut some people some slack. I'd be more in on people like Luke Shaw, who have been playing pre-season games for over a month and are still rubbish. Scott McTominay, who have got no idea what he's all about. And the style of football from Jose, it's got to get better. He's got to look at that. Michael Carrick and McKenna have got to be vocal because it's their careers. McKenna's done a great job in the youth setup. Michael Carrick's just starting his career. Don't get labelled with Mourinho. If it means you get moved aside because you stand up to him, do it. It's got to happen. Thanks everyone for watching. I'm back tomorrow in the morning myself at about 11 o'clock with the Transfer Daily down on the beach. But keep your eyes out. Fan cams are coming up. Flex is out there interviewing people right now. Thanks for watching. I'll speak to you all soon. Subscribe if you're new, drop a like, get involved in the conversation.